Well, it's very unusual that she gets to paddle a new boat before I do, because I'm kind of selfish like that. But Angie got to splash the Kilroy first today. Now I'll get in it. Of course, y'all know me. I love a Kilroy. I spend a lot of time in a Kilroy. I just wanted to double check the new seat to see, stability issues and things like that, just to kind of give feedback on it. But we had a couple talking points while she was out here in it, and I figured I'd let her fill y'all in as to why she kind of likes this boat.
Okay, when we first started paddling, I gotta admit, I'm one of those who is chicken of being on the water. Only time I'd ever been out was either with you in a bigger boat or as a kid in a canoe, and that was pretty much about it. This feels a whole lot more like being in a canoe. So there's a safety feel, and I know that's the strangest sounding thing, but I feel a whole lot more safe in this style of a boat than I do on a sit on top. I'm better at it now, mind you. I do have a sit on top, and I'm good, but there's just a feeling of safety here, and there's an eagle calling it, but I'm gonna get sidetracked because
It's a pair of them, actually. It's a pair of adults right there, or adult and immature. But yeah, that's for her. One of the things in a sit on top is we start out as something's going to get me. I paddle by the bank. She doesn't want to be near the grass. She doesn't want to be near the sticks, and that's cool. I mean, that's part of my job, is to protect my female. But this type of a boat definitely lends into a little bit of security, just because of being surrounded by the cockpit.
Right.
And that makes a difference in some people. On top of, paddleability, what do you think?
It works great. I can paddle just fine. Of course, my only issue is probably the same issue I have with every boat. I am short, definitely vertically challenged, and so to get to the foot pegs, my legs are completely stretched out and kind of useless. So, but this has a bottom that has some grooves cut out in it. I can get my heels in there and rest the balls of my feet against the foot pegs, and can use that to paddle. So paddling's comfortable, even though I don't have the foot, ability that I do in some others. But we worked it out.
And on top of comfortable paddle, it's a fast boat. That's when we started out paddling, I'd paddle and have to wait for her. I'd paddle and have to wait for her. In this boat, there's no wait. She keeps she's definitely fast in this boat, and I've always thought that about these. So all right, well, thank you, baby.
One other thing though, if you are transitioning from a canoe, this is a great transition boat. I mean, you'll have the comfort of a canoe, but the feel of what a kayak is going to feel like. So this could be a stepping up into a different kind of a kayak, like it was for me.
Right.
So that was nice.
And having the ability to put your gear, she's got our lunch, dry gear, water, everything else back here, without even getting into the tank storage or the under the bow storage. This thing has just a tremendous amount of gear storage ability in it. And that's always been one of my draws, because of being able to carry camera gear and my fishing gear, because I tend to have far more gear than a normal paddle. So, but anyway, I'll jump in a second, go over kind of what I feel about centers of gravity, which is one of the concerns I had with the old Kilroy, and we'll go over that here shortly. But thank you, baby.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I got out in the Kilroy. I wanted to see, because I know one particular a person I asked on the video about the Kilroy, did the new seat change the stability of it? And I got to say, yeah, it's a little bit, to where you can actually feel, since you're higher, the center of gravity is a little bit less, or a little bit higher, so you feel a little. But I stood, did everything I need to, and I honestly, 10 seconds into the boat, it's like, okay, I'm back in familiar Kilroy territory. So you are definitely higher in the take two seat in the high position. The one thing about the OG Kilroy is, to me, when I went from the high position to the low position, it actually put the bow in a forward down, and so I actually felt like I was fighting it in the low position, which is why I never put the OG Kilroy in the low position. This one, I think the balance is much better. In the low position, I asked Angie to look at me, the attitude in the water. She says perfectly level. I felt like I was paddling level. So to me, that's a win-win with this seat. That the 2 points, high and low, if you don't feel comfortable in the high position yet, that when you're in the low position, that it'll paddle well. The high position, to me, those that like to fish and like to have their legs a little lower, that's going to be very much a benefit to them. If you're carrying a lot of camera gear, stuff like that, and you don't want to feel like you're on that high position, man, get put in a low position. You're still going to paddle great. You got plenty of room for your gear. So to me, I'm happy with the seat change, other than the fact of losing the rod storage, but we've already hashed that out in the other video. But I want to come back and give you all my thoughts on it. Thankfully, we got Angie's good thoughts, so hopefully got two opinions on the way that the boat paddles. And you can't go wrong with a Kilroy. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Kilroy. So hope this helps. Any questions, y'all hit me up. We'll see some fishing videos, hopefully some swamp video with this one very soon.